Immigration Reform 2025, Bipartisan Proposals, Trump's Enforcement Bill, and Local Pushback. Today, we're talking about unexpected developments in U.S. immigration reform in 2025. With the current date being August 29, 2025, there have been some surprising moves from new bipartisan bills to local governments pushing for change amid rising enforcement actions. We'll cover the key updates, including pathways to legal status, border security enhancements, and recent policy shifts. Remember, this is all based on publicly available news and reports. Let's get into it. 1. The Dignity Act of 2025. Show bill text highlights timelines. First up, one of the more hopeful bipartisan efforts is the Dignity Act of 2025, introduced in July by Republican Representative Maria Elvira Salazar and Democrat Representative Veronica Escobar, with several co-sponsors from both parties. This bill aims to balance border security with opportunities for undocumented individuals who've been in the U.S. for years. Key provisions include the DREAM Act component, which will provide conditional permanent resident status to about 2.5 million young immigrants who arrived as children, as long as they've lived here since January 2021, passed background checks, and meet education or work requirements. After up to 10 years, they could apply for full lawful permanent residency through college, military service, or steady employment. There's also the Dignity Program, a 7-year deferred action plan for those here since December 2020. Participants would need to pay a $7,000 fine over time, cover back taxes, maintain employment or education, and enroll in health coverage without accessing federal benefits. It offers work and travel authorization, but no direct path to citizenship, with renewals possible. On the security side, the bill calls for physical barriers, technology, and more Border Patrol agents, plus mandatory verify for employers to check work eligibility. Asylum reforms would speed up processing at the border to 60 days, with new humanitarian campuses for screenings. It also updates legal immigration, like reducing visa backlogs and protecting family unity. This act represents a comprehensive approach, though its passage remains uncertain in the current Congress. 2. The Big Beautiful Bill. Use cautionary visuals like charts on funding increases. Moving to a major policy change signed into law. On July 4th, 2025, President Trump enacted the Big Beautiful Bill, which has introduced significant updates to immigration enforcement and benefits. The bill allocates billions for border enhancements, including $47 billion for wall construction, $7 billion for more CBP agents, and $6.2 billion for technology like surveillance. It expands detention facilities with $45 billion for IC, potentially allowing longer family detentions, and funds programs like Remain in Mexico for asylum processing outside the U.S. Other changes include higher fees for applications, such as $100 for asylum claims and $5,000 for unauthorized crossings, and restrictions on health and nutrition aid for many lawfully present immigrants, like limiting Medicaid and SNAP eligibility starting in 2026. Tax benefits, including the child tax credit, now require a work-valid Social Security number for at least one parent. These measures aim to strengthen enforcement, but have raised concerns about access to protections and due process. 3. Unexpected local pushes for reform show maps of San Diego area. Community meeting clips. Now, for the unexpected part, even in traditionally conservative areas, there's been a push for federal reform. In North County, San Diego, cities like Encinitas and Escondido, both with Republican majority councils, have responded to recent IC arrests by calling for changes. Encinitas, after public outcry over arrests near schools, unanimously voted on August 20th to launch a Know Your Rights campaign, explore safe zones around sensitive areas, file FOIA requests on IC activities, and consider joining lawsuits or banning IC agents from wearing face masks. They also plan a community alert system for enforcement actions. Escondido took a different tack on August 13th, approving a bipartisan letter to Congress urging clearer citizenship pathways, guest worker programs, more border and court resources, and guidelines separating local and federal roles. While both cities highlight community safety and economic stability, Encinitas focuses on immediate protections and Escondido on systemic fixes. This local momentum is notable as it shows cross-party recognition of the immigration system's challenges. 4. New Democrat coalition's plan. Infographics on plan pillars. Just this week, on August 25th, the new Democrat coalition, a group of moderate House Democrats, unveiled a new plan to secure the border and reform immigration, aiming for a middle ground ahead of 2026 midterms. The plan emphasizes tougher enforcement, like expanding border technology and increasing deportation for those with criminal records, while supporting pathways for dreamers and farm workers. It calls for more immigration judges to reduce backlogs, in-country asylum processing in Latin America, and economic aid to address migration root causes. Politically, it's designed to appeal to voters concerned about border security while maintaining humanitarian elements. Section 5. Other recent news, quick bullet visuals. A few more quick updates from late August 2025. USCIS's broadening application reviews to flag potential anti-Americanism, which could affect visa approvals. The Trump administration is reinstating first-term restrictions on legal immigration, like tighter sponsorship rules. Daily news clips highlight ongoing debates, including a conviction aided by USCIS in a fraud case. That's a wrap on the latest in unexpected immigration reform for 2025. These developments show a mix of enforcement focus and calls for balanced change. If you're affected, check official resources like uscis.gov for guidance. What do you think? Share in the comments below. But keep it respectful. Hit like if this helped, subscribe for more, and see you next time.
US immigration reform in 2025 has taken an unexpected turn, landing tough enforcement with a new legalization pathways. The Dignity Act of 2025, introduced by bipartisan lawmakers, proposes conditional permanent residency for 2.5 million dreamers and a 7-year dignity program for undocumented immigrants, while expanding border security, asylum reforms, and legal visa backlog reduction. In contrast, President Trump signed the Big Beautiful Bill on July 4, allocating billions of border expansion, CBD agents, ICE detention, and asylum restrictions, alongside higher application fees and limits on immigrant access to Medicaid, SNAP, and tax credits. Local governments are also stepping in incentives, birthright awareness campaigns, are protection after ICE arrest, while East Canadido asked founders for a broader systemic reforms. Meanwhile, the New Democrats coalition unveiled a plan balancing stricter enforcement with the protections for dreamers and farm workers, more judges, and aid to Latin America. Additional updates include tighter USCIS reviews, renewal legal immigration restrictions, and heightening policy debates nationwide.